introduce yourself to folks who are not familiar with the Zazu.
I am Zazu, and the X2 is for Zazu Times 2H2 Music, and so I just carried the moniker over. Why not put games at the end? But yeah, I've been doing this since this year. Mondo Davis, great friend of mine, known for over a decade, and he was like, "What? Why don't you play games all the time? You have great personality. You should do this too." He goes, "I don't have any personality, and I'm making it work." I was like, "Don't sell yourself short. Like you're doing great." But yeah, he told me to. I did it, and it's been awesome, man. Everybody I've met. Gotten to play game. I love playing stuff first, being in person live to do stuff. Got to play Seppi's game before it hit Gen Con or anything like that. So like stuff like that I love doing. So this is like the perfect thing. And I don't mind being on camera, and
I do mind being on camera. This is entirely learned behavior. But speaking of which, we also had Chris from Low Level Adventures. Chris magically girl transformed in his demo of Conquest Princess. I absolutely love Chris for that. You were one of the people that I ended up seeing earliest in the convention. You mentioned that on a live that I saw you on yesterday or the day before. It was like Wednesday during setup, and you were hanging out with Alex.
Wednesday.
Yeah, and I was like, hey, I know that guy. What were you doing there on Wednesday, Zazu?
The flights, they worked out. That was like the best flight time and price. So I was just like, let's go see what's up. Get a lay of the land. I'm glad I did. I ran to Andy, and he gave me like the grand tour of everything. And that's when I realized like, oh shoot, all this stuff I scheduled is not happening. Like, I was like, this hotel's over here, this is over here, Lucas Oil Stadium's over here. I was like, no. So gave myself some grace, I'm just like, hey, I'm just gonna do whatever pops up and have a good time.
That is a wonderful way to be. I think people should take that as a lesson, Zazu. All right. So for folks who aren't familiar with Gen Con or this particular Gen Con is in Indianapolis. It is the largest gaming-only convention, or I should say gaming-focused convention, as far as board games, role-playing games, over the whatnot, in the United States. In the world, obviously, you have Essen, which is a bigger, a bigger something. And as far as like nerd conventions go, Comic-Con puts up larger numbers than this. But as far as like a gaming-focused, like tabletop gaming-focused convention, Gen Con is the largest. And this Gen Con, 2023, was the largest Gen Con ever. Somewhere around 80,000 people, depending on you ask, either up, above, or below. This Gen Con was enormous.
It was wild.
Did you do the show floor like day one or day two when it was like packed in and you had to shuffle your feet and you're bumping into everybody? Did you do that?
I did. I skipped the first day, and I went the following because I walked in, and so story time. So when I was little, like I used to get in trouble my dad was in the army. I used to get in trouble all the time for not paying attention to where I was going because I was a kid. I'd run into stuff and people, and I get in trouble. And so now, like when I'm older, I'm like a man. I'm over 30. So like now I get mad when kids are just like, it's crowded. They're just like bumping into me. I'm just like, why am I dodging like these little sounds? I can't do it. I do it. So skip day one. And then the next days were fine, except for you were anywhere near Lorcana, of course. That was like a whole nother.
Oh my gosh. We're going to talk about drama from Gen Con in that as well. But it's interesting that you mentioned being an Army brat gives you a certain sensibilities of how you approach this kind of thing. And that is sort of what is wonderful about gaming, and one of the reasons that your voice has a lot of value here. And by you, I mean you specifically, but also I mean you as the audience, both, is you can make a difference in this community by being present and being kind. And that is not only like the TikTok board game community, which now that you've met everybody, you can see how weirdly representative their content is actually of them as people. Like, Like Becky is the only person who I know who got to see sort of the flip side. Like I talk about it on some of my content. There's a flip side of me where I am just shut down. Like,
Yeah.
but of all the TikTok people, like Becky is the only, and she got to see that because she shared a booth with me at Gamma. But otherwise, this is who I. Like I got to see Bowser, Curvin, Chris, Sparky, you, like Mondo was off doing Mondo type adventures.
Yeah.
I got to spend more time with Carl and Jason than I had anticipated, and I loved hanging out with those two guys. That was just
fun,
great.
man. Me and Carl had quite a few conversations.
Carl's the sort of the best.
He's so chill. I was like, why are you so chill? Like, somebody's got to be, because they're just like all the lines and stuff going on. I was like, that's a good answer.
Yeah, like as you know, Carl is 98 years old, and so I just tell Jason that he is collecting Gaysian senior citizens, and I'm just going to be part of this like home he's starting.
And they're Orlando. I was like, I go to Orlando like often. Like, I'm gonna look you up when I go down there.
Oh no, my gosh! If you're going down there and causing trouble, let me know. I have family down there. We'll go. We'll call it impromptu TikTok convention because Ascadelia's down there too.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
I got to hang out with her today and do an online demo for Conquest Princess.
Nice.
I absolutely love Ascadelia. She is larger than life.
She drove up to Gen Con?
Yeah.
I was like, no thanks.
No, that's crazy, girl. That's insane. Have you heard her life story?
I have not.
Oh my gosh, do yourself a treat that if you're on content with her, ask her whole like type of careers that she's had, and it is a treat. I will not spoil it for anyone, but Ascadelia, amazing. Like Jared, also you should like just crazy lives. Like, yeah, Jared's major was dance.
Wait, Jared, that does all the retro games?
Yeah,
he was a dancer.
Yes.
Like
there's some amazing people. Like I don't think people fully realize like Brain in a Jar is actually a neurosurgeon. Like Becky is like a very successful like marketing powerhouse as far as how algorithms and shopping work. Like our community is filled with a lot of people, like, and of course, Mondo, like international superstar that he is. And thus, I am just happy to be here.
Likewise,
right. Well, speaking, somebody just showed up. The Porcus Wally, Alex, I got to see a lot of. I didn't get to see his mom. Did you get to hang out with Alex and his mom? Might I suggest a game?
I hung out. Well, he was at the table next to me when we were in the gaming lounge that I didn't find till like the last day. But it was like 3 a.m. We're actually playing. They were playing Apothecary, but it was like 2, 3 a.m. and I was beyond. You get a little loopy because it's too late. I was at that mode, and I had set up the cones that you use to like mark the tables into a little course. I was in my mind. I was like, man, like if I had some rollerblades, I could slide through this place pretty electric. But if running Galaxy Trucker, the life size, I really wanted to play that, and they only played one, so I didn't get to play. So it's on my list to do next year.
Yeah, this was your first big convention, or just your first Gen Con, or your first convention ever? Like, where was this? I remember you had mentioned this is one of a first for you.
I went to Tantrum Con and Proto ATL, so way smaller, like 1 to 2 rooms, like one hall of a hotel, and no like craziness. But I've done Dragon Cons in Atlanta.
Oh,
so I've done that, but it's like
Dragon Con is surreal. I need to make Dragon Con happy. Oh, Rosie has joined us. Rosie, congratulations on your new gig. I'm very excited about that. Thank you for the email saying not to mail you shit. Yes. I like okay, so this is your first Gen Con, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So what were the big surprises for you for Gen Con?
Oh man, that will call line. I didn't know that was gonna be a constant thing. I was like, oh, you wait in line, you get your stuff, like that's it. But like every day, I'm just like, I'm like, what? Like people are still lining up. I didn't realize that people would notice me, um, or that I would notice them. So that was cool. And everybody was super nice. Like,
All right. You are easy to pick out of a crowd, Zazu.
That's
right?
true.
Like
That's true. That's
very like
you know, anything like internet, you don't think like I did
you're
music
really,
for a
really
while.
like, I never usually don't like to comment on this way for people so young, but like you're very easy on the eyes and you stand out in a crowd, especially a gaming crowd. It would be very
true.
hard to miss you.
That's true.
I do the exact same thing, but like Becky says, by volume. You can hear me.
That is true.
And
That is
just
true.
if I am anywhere in proximity, you will the laugh will happen. One of the signature Seppi laughs will happen, and then you're like, I feel like a disturbance in the forest. Like I feel like a million lives have cried out at once, and suddenly we're silent.
Neither of us need a hat. You know, I don't think I can fit in that.
Rosie is one of my favorite for content creators because how she represents for audience. If you have not followed, like as an archetype of how to make excellent content, I Rosie is one of the people that I recommend for
Wait,
making.
is Cozy
like,
Rosie?
Yeah,
See,
Rosie
that
the
was
Cozy
another
Board
problem.
Gamer.
I didn't know anybody's actual name, so we'll be like Alex and Sip. You know, y'all's names right there.
It's right there. It's right there.
Awesome.
Like
You gave me pointers, like
Alex is also somebody that I would definitely choose.
Do this. And I was just like, okay, if I'm being like over suggestive, you let me know. I was like, no, like tell me all the tips. I need them. So
so when I was an adult, I was head of marketing for software development companies, and the very first thing that is like from my old life to my current life is if you see somebody doing it right, do it their way.
yeah.
Especially in TikTok. If you are trying things on, this is a great environment as a game designer, as a publisher, as a content creator. Inherently, you will not be able to do it as good as Jason or Rosie, but those people will innately teach you what will work, and then you will craft that version for your own voice. Okay.
Nice.
This is super important for gaming because the demo is definitely a thing. And if I have one S rank skill as far as being good at what I do, the only skill that I could actually say is like top rank is my ability to give a demo.
Damn it. All right.
And I like Chris got to experience my demo.
I missed that. I was looking for you.
This is not good. Like, my demo for stuff is like I try very much to be constantly working on it and involve the audience and read the room, like cater jokes. It's somewhere between like a teach and an improv. Right. I have set bits that end up dropping in there, and you're a musician. You understand that. You have things that you can always just launch right into. And other people who have been, like, hey, Seppi, how do you give a demo? I'm like, hey, come and experience my demo and then rip me off. Find which jokes work for you, find which timing works for you, find which moments are for you, and copy it. Like, game design is weirdly that way. Like, I know Jasper is currently doing a series about it was okay to steal from other game designers, but that does not include pallets of expensive cards.
Oh yeah, that was a whole deal, huh?
We'll go back to that. Well, I guess we'll jump to that right now. So one of the other firsts for a Gen Con for me was a heist. Like, this is the first Gen Con ever that somebody tried to perform a heist. Now, I'm not going to give any details about this, but folks should look up the level. Like, somebody should write a movie about this particular. Like, this is like a Coen Brothers movie.
Yeah. I don't know how that even, like, it had to be like an inside job, right? Because he was in there when no one else had access, so it wasn't like he like grabbed stuff and ran.
Oh, like, go find the articles in and around this kind of stuff. The amount of detail that is going on about these two suspects and all this other kind of stuff, it is really public. Like, gaming is small, and gaming is an institution where we take care of each other. And this kind of thing, oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh,
I didn't know there was two people. I was getting texts from back home from like my game group. They were just like, "Oh, what's going on with the heist?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "You're at Gen Con, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." I had to like go, and then it was actually the first thing on like my Google like feed. I was like, "Oh, that heist, okay." I don't even like. Where was it? Was it in the Lucas Oil Stadium or was it in the?
Well, you could have been a suspect, Zazu, because you were there on Wednesday when it happened.
We were probably talking to each other as it was going down.
That is actually probably more accurate than I care to comment on.
We're each other's alibi.
It's true. We even had Patrick there, and then we had Alex. We have a lot of Alexes in board game TikTok. We were all just chatting with each other. Yeah. So that was a big surprise for me. Like, I had not expected the jump from 70. I saw the 50th anniversary of Gen Con was a 70,000 person audience. I did not think 10,000 more people would make it feel like as insane as it did.
When was that? When was
the 50th anniversary was before the dark times.
Oh. Pre-Dark Ages?
Pre-Dark Age. We're just going to call everything whatever. Before the Great Isolation. We're just going to call it the Great Isolation.
I like that.
Before the Great Isolation was the 50th anniversary. And so I really had to figure out my way in and out of the hall. I would go, because I had an exhibitor badge, I would go into and visit with people before or after the stuff turned up, because I could not make it to everybody while the press was of people was there. And people had, and by people I mean publishers, had spectacular shows. I know a number of people who just flat out sold out of all the stuff that they brought.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. It was. Yeah, people came and they came to buy.
There's one booth in the people. They apparently was supposed to be someone else for the last day, and they never came. And they're in the exhibit, but so they just set all their stuff out. And there was a sign that said, grab one or something like that, but it was gone. But I walked back by and the sign was gone. The merchandise was still there. I was like, oh, I guess no one knew they could just grab stuff.
Yeah, Flamecraft is a perfect example. It sold out Saturday midday. It's crazy. Chip Theory, Left Justified. There's a lot of local people that I'm they're all the games are gone. Adam's Apple completely sold out of Planet Unknown. People showed up.
That Challengers game, which I found out about. I don't know why I'd never seen it. Or heard about it, but
which game?
I found out about it until I was there. I played it. I was like, "Oh, where's this at?" And they're like, "What do you mean? This game's been gone since day one." I was like, "I don't know."
Yeah, okay. So Rosie's talking about Cosmoctopus. What are you talking about, Zazu? Which game were you talking about?
Challengers. It's 8 players, but Alex keeps doing. I've seen a couple of videos from Alex mention it as a game to play, but you can play with a bunch of people, but each pair is playing one-on-one, and then you switch.
Yeah.
So it was cool. I enjoyed it. It's like one of those games that's sneaky complex. You think you're just following the motions, but you're like, oh wait, there's some strategy here.
We are getting into a weird place where things like Cosmoctopus, if 5 years ago nobody would have taken that game seriously, right? The theme is too weird. As a person who has weird themes, I'm glad that everybody's catching up to me. But speaking of weird themes, what are all the games that you played and which day? Did you get to play anything on Wednesday?
No,
You just hung out.
I just hung out. I was demoing Kelp for Wonderboat Games.
Okay.
So Wednesday, I was searching. I was looking there like, yeah, try this hotel, try this hotel. So I went to like 3 or 4 hotels to find like the free gaming. Never found it until
Kelp
Saturday.
is one of my litmus tests for how nerdy people are. Like,
Kelp?
I went to my banker and I'm like, hey, Jake is great. Jake, I have this game where you and your wife can 2-player. One of you is going to be an octopus and one of you is going to be a shark. And he just looked at me like I had slapped him with a fish. Like,
it's a great game.
It is a great game, but you are now one of us. The nomenclature of like what is like approachable to everybody else. Yeah. Like, shark versus octopus. It's like Shark Week, the game.
Yeah, it was. I loved it, and I haven't seen the whole documentary, but there's a Netflix documentary called what's it called? My Teacher the Octopus.
Oh my god, that guy has too close a relationship with an octopus. Oh my god.
And that's why I was like, I'm gonna finish this later. That's one of the let's see what's the octopus.
That's a good choice. Like there's a couple of weird things in there that I think has good details for people. Like spending time in cold water in cold changes your metabolism, and so that you can take more cold and spend more time in cold water. And so that guy is diving in like cold South African waters, and he's snorkeling mostly, spending like 3 hours a day in 50-degree water, and it's like, oh my,
session going on there for sure. I did play I played Andy's prototype Grabby Hands, which I thought it's like your game, like Conquest Princess. Like I see these games, I'm just like, well, what do you mean it's not done? This looks better than half the games I see on the shelf. Like what do you?
Aww.
So it was like one of those. So we played Grabby Hands, like super like tiny 10 game. I'm just like, I was like, I don't know what the standard is now. Like I'm looking at these prototypes that look better than games that have been on my shelf for years, So it's kind of interesting. Like that line is getting blurred. Like that's what's so exciting about this whole thing. It's like you can make a game and you bring it to the right place. Like people just like, oh, this is cool. Can I get one? And it's like, oh, it's not out yet. Oh, this is just my first print. I'm like, okay, like fair enough.
Having a good game is not enough yet anymore. Having a great game is even not enough anymore. The new barrier, from my perspective as a publisher, the new barrier for entry for people who are trying to publish games as small and indie, at least what I've run into from my experience, is now the media barrier. The number of gamers has doubled since the dark times. The largest group of people in that are gateway gamers, and the largest number of people in that segmentation are women gateway gamers. Okay? But simultaneously, if you look at game media, is game media like 54% women?
Is it?
No, it's not. Like, so the people who are buying games and the people who are making game content, there's a radical separation. Okay. The kinds of games that people want, Alex, the board game sommelier, is constantly like giving people breadcrumbs to their next game. And that's one of the things that's great about his content, right? People like understanding how the algorithms of the media that we do tune into are affecting what we get to see is a big deal. Like if you are ever on Meta, you'll realize that as a dude on Meta, you are going to get to see every popular crowdfund, because it is going to make sure if you like board game content, that's going to be in front of you. But if you're a woman on that same platform, no way is that board game stuff going to show up for you unless you go to like a group subgroup or something else, or you participate in that kind of stuff. And it's just the how competitive that audience is for that audience. People are pounding a lot of dollars who are like big name brands for even non-board game things. Will exclude all that other stuff. So the reality of how game media gets to where the game people are is really a thing.
So we've always had more women than men in all of my like gaming settings.
That's amazing. You should rejoice.
Yeah, I love women. They're all my favorite people.
So Becky is saying, hey, what? I've never seen an ad for a Kickstarter camp because she hasn't. And like, Becky likes games. Like, it's a real thing. She will never see a sponsored whatever. She has to go and do, and that reality is insane.
That's so weird.
And so what does that mean for our Gen Con discussion? What does that mean for our Gen Con discussion? For small indies and for people who are trying to make it, these environments that are like gaming or game nerd adjacent is the way for indie publishers to connect with their fans. And the number one thing that you should do if you are thinking of designing games or whatever it is start working on your own curated environment. And that is easiestly summed up as a newsletter. Like the power of Google to allow you to like sift through all the crap is so good now that response rates and open rates for newsletter content is really good now. And if you are actually making things that are interesting and compelling, you can get things to happen.
No, that's so true. That's I didn't know. So I was looking into real estate stuff, and this is how this whole like me back on social media. I stopped everything after I tuned down the music stuff because it was boring and exhausting. But this guy, they have like the biggest real estate podcast, but he left the podcast, but he still had his audience, right?
Right.
And it's real estate, so he does this deal. The guy like raised like $50 million in like 5 minutes. Because he had some he wanted to buy a hotel or I don't know, something like that. But he goes, yeah, I just put it out there and then the link. And then he's like, yeah, we were funded in like 5 minutes. And I was just like, what?
If you already have an audience that loves you, conversely, as you can see in the background, I the Conquest Princess poster, things went like very sideways when that our normal gaming audience, I feel like Gen Con is an example of the continent of awesome that I have slowly, one sandbag at a time, created around my gaming industry and content friends. And I say continent, I mean you can stand in the center and never see the awful wilderness that lies beyond the other ocean of stuff. And so, but Hurricane of Awful showed up during that campaign. And that unfortunately creates an environment where even people who would be really supportive of a project like this didn't want to go into an environment where they saw people like just being yucky.
And that's the problem with all that. It's like, it's not that it is the damage that the one person does, but you then pollute an environment that maybe you shouldn't have walked into anyway. Like, why are you here? You know, like we're to have fun.
Right.
And then you're like,
you know, it's like, But speaking of which, this was the first Gen Con on Sunday. I got to take a little time for myself. And this is where I saw you at the end. I got to go to the BIPOC Lounge and I got to go to the Tabletop Gamers Lounge. And what I loved about it was the vibe. Like Shay was in there and he was living his best life. Like, and considering how loud and like body pressed every other place was, a chill place where you could just like look around and see people who might look like you was actually really.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, I'm here. Let's do this thing.
I got to meet a bunch of YouTube and Twitch people in there as well. That was cool. I was just like, TikTok. That's all I was thinking about. But I was like, oh, wait, there's other people doing this. Like, across platform, talking to some people, see what's up. So, but yeah, I just love when people are intentional. Like I guess it was the second year that BIPOC was there, but I mean, as we both well know, it's just just being the person like in a space to like create a space for other people. It's exhausting. Like it's rewarding, but at the same time, it's just like.
Yeah, I want to be much better about being present in both those locations for next year.
Every day. What were you saying?
Yeah, I want to be better about being more present in those spaces next year. Like, I think it's just good for my mental health.
Yeah, it's nice, man. It's nice. It's a they had it just set up. So that was the whole thing for me. I was like, man, like. They had the water, and there were some snacks in there, and there were some games. You want to play game? I didn't play any games because
and it was quieter.
Oh, quiet. Well, the spot, they were like up, and then like over in the corner. I was like, that's good.
Yeah, let's just sit on this couch for a second. See, Mackenzie. I got to see Mackenzie and Tyler. I loved seeing the two of them. There was an event. All right, so. To make sure that we meander back onto the topic, which is today's topic is Gen Con 2023 recaps, and we're experiencing it from our individual perspectives. You might not have gotten to see this kind of thing, like what does a publisher's view of a Gen Con thing look like? What is a first timers and so forth and whatnot? And so that's today's topic. Okay, so Gen Con for industry people can start as early as Tuesday. You're allowed to get in there and start setting up on Tuesday, and Wednesday, especially Wednesday evening, you can have a lot of business meetings. Like the Gen Con that happens on top of Gen Con, heists aside, as a way for people to connect and meet for either making content or getting people to look at your games or finding a manufacturer or like getting FaceTime with individual people. That ends up happening at all the major conventions. It's also surprising a lot of that actually happens at Adepticon too, because that particular audience ends up coming together for that end of show. So anywhere you have places of people to coming together, you have things that are determining like the future of game creators, of like I helped Sparky get a job at Gen Con.
Nice.
Did he tell you that?
He told me he helped get a job, and then he had did he have Mondo's badge?
Somebody had Mondo's badge.
So that's why Sebby got me. I was like, okay, but I was like, how did you get that badge? He goes, oh, don't worry about that. I was like, all
right. So Tuesday starts setup. People start in, and as soon as people, don't tell anybody that this badge thing happens. I ended up having like, The badge thing is hysterical. Who you can end up being at Gen Con is one of my favorite games. It's a secret game. We don't talk about it. Like Badge Club, nobody talks about Badge Club at Gen Con. So Wednesday, there's a lot of those things coming on. If you are really interested in having a life in gaming, my recommendation is go on Wednesday. Like set up meetings, do this kind of stuff when people for Gen Con hits people like you don't even know. Like getting people fresh as the show winds up is way better than getting people at the end. Like Sunday, everybody had the zombie walk. Like,
oh yeah,
even Danny Standring, who loves games, I walked up to her and said, "How's it going?" She's like, "I think I'm done." I think I'm done. I'm like, oh, that is yeah. I think I need to go home. I'm like, oh, all right then, Danny. Like, I've never seen you gamed out ever, and it's been years of this kinds of stuff.
Saturday night on was just a struggle, man. Like That was when I lost my voice, and then just the lack of sleep and the 20,000 steps every day kind of got to me.
Yeah, like, yeah, people are sending me their step logs. I'm like, yeah, that seems about right.
I think me and the kids I was like, man, I've never been jealous of people in wheelchairs, and you shouldn't be, but I could go for a wheelchair right about now. It's
In
it's
the
rough.
in the in the warm up to Gen Con, we were talking about things that extraordinary things that people do, and there are concierge services for Gen Con.
Do tell.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So Geek Nation Tours does one of those. They sponsor an entire house, right? And they get you to and from the con. They get you this whole thing. They take care of meals. They do all this kind of stuff. But I know there's another gaming group, and I've run into them that actually these three people just have a gopher, and this guy will there whenever they're playing games, just tell this guy to go get them something, and that's his entire Gen Con. They get him a badge, and his job is just Alfred the Butler the entire time.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, this is fun. Like the stratification of the very poor like myself to the people who are just like buying Kingdom Death Monster is a real thing in Gen Con as well. You can live the yeah, like that steakhouse in particular is like if you get a reservation, you can really see who's living their best Gen Con life.
I heard about the steakhouse. I never made it over.
Oh, you at the very least you should walk in and get some of their sauce. I think it's like their cocktail sauce is like bananas, or their steak sauce is bananas. As a vegetarian myself, one of the things that I got to see also as Gen Con has been growing up is food in Indianapolis has gotten so much better.
I concur.
Like it was so awful the first year.
Oh, was that bad?
It was really bad. Like food was really bad. Like since the addition of food trucks and like the city in general embracing like legitimate food. Like I enjoyed Nada. Did you end up going there?
I don't think so.
I enjoyed like Nada was a surprise for me. I ended up going to someplace called Salt on Mass, which was really good. Yeah, no, they're like there's legitimate places to eat now in Indianapolis. Not just that one steakhouse. Oh,
my previous job was one of the headquarters was in Indianapolis. So for a decade, I'd fly in and out multiple times a year. I was just like, man, this is the worst place for food. And then like 2-3 years ago, this guy came and his brother-in-law did the Indy 500 for ESPN. So of course they have like deep pockets. So they would just go to all these places, and he had this master list of their restaurants. And I would be one of the trainers, and every day, like I'm like, dude, how far is it? Like, how long will it take? Because we got to get back to class. And we'd be gone for like 3 hours for lunch every day. But every place is great. I was like, I've been here for a decade, never found these places. I was like, who cares about class? Let's go eat. Let's find some good food in Indy.
Did you walk far enough to see the building that looks like a boat?
No.
Okay, that neighborhood, that was the first time in Indianapolis. Hey, Scott, good to see you. There is a neighborhood that in the center of it, it's this building that looks like the Love Boat. Like it looks like a cruise
ship. Like downtown?
It's just off of downtown. Okay. I think it's like northeast, or in my mind, it seems northeast from downtown. That neighborhood had legitimate food. Like you could go to any of those places in that neighborhood and you would not have been. So if you have to go back there and go, find the neighborhood that looks like it has the ship in it.
The place of my favorite restaurants is called Broad Ripple.
What kind of food?
They just have all kinds of restaurants. It's like it's like a little slice of paradise, like in Indianapolis. It's like good food, good people, like a lot of young folks meandering around.
That is really good. So, did you make it to any of the industry events?
Went to Punch Bowl Social. There was a gathering there, and then
Which night?
I don't know. Thursday? No,
Was
Friday.
Was it Friday when Sparky was there, or was it Thursday when Panda was there? I think it was Friday. Did I see you there? I probably saw you there.
I saw you there.
All right, so yeah. So
Friday?
Yeah, that's Friday.
The days, they're all just like just a bundle of hours.
Yes. So Mackenzie, everybody got dropped in on the Be Creative Social. That was really fun.
That was fun.
I got to see Curvin there. I got to see Mackenzie there. I got to see Jason, Carl. We came early for that shenanigans. Got to see you there. Yeah, that was particularly good. I did not get to the Chris Goulet's event on Saturday because I had stuff going on. I was wondering, did you go to that one? That would probably be in the check
That was the one like in the CG.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was cool too. That was really cool. They had some little challenges set up, and met a bunch of people.
Did you get to play something there? What was the deal? Like normally Chris puts on a good event. He does that also during PAX Unplugged, and I would recommend it.
I'll be there.
Oh, you going to PAX Unplugged?
I think so. I got to double check with the wife, but I think I might be able to do PAX Unplugged.
Good.
Have you Mondo's favorite? And Mondo's he owes me like a travel buddy session because he ditched me. He was my roommate for Gen Con and went to Ireland instead. So.
No, we can't say the details of his stuff. We cannot say what Mondo was up to.
There.
Yeah, international superstar Mondo Davis. We should all conspire to refer to Mondo Davis as only international superstar Mondo Davis.
Yeah. Speaking of conspiring, Mackenzie and I and Tyler, we were at where did we go? Renegade. We went to their room.
Yeah.
So there's this game called Quantum from Fun Forge that I love. And every time I try to buy it, someone wants to charge me some crazy amount of money. So I was like, y'all need to reprint this. Because they reprinted Robo Rally, which they were pushing pretty hard. And I was like, this is perfect because my Robo Rally copy is terrible. And so the guy that I was working, he goes, I actually love that game. And I think that's a great idea. But I don't have access to that. So maybe you should start a rumor in TikTok and then they'll pick it up. I was like, okay. So I was like, all right, I'm going to work on that at some point. I'm going to start printing Quantum again.
Renegade and Scott, I've always been impressed anytime I've interacted with those guys. Yeah. So the new Robo Rally. Robo Rally is, of course, the game Richard Garfield wanted to make, and he funded that by making this other game. I don't know if you've heard it, called Magic the Gathering. So
never heard of it.
That is my favorite fact. It's just what my other favorite nerd fact is, why didn't Lucas direct Empire Strikes Back?
Wait, he didn't?
No, that's why it's the best one. Yeah.
Wait, he really didn't?
He didn't. No.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
do you know why he didn't do it?
No.
Because he wanted to focus on the project he was most excited about, which was the 80s Howard the Duck.
Hey, you can't be good at everything. Decision making is not a strong suit. You know?
I'm just saying, even great visionaries have tunnel vision. This is the thing that they want to do, right? People think of Magic as so pervasive, but Magic did not have a multiplayer version of itself until 2010, an official one, because Richard Garfield would not support a multiplayer version of the game. He's like, this is a 2-player game. And how much time, I can't even tell how much time I've spent on multiplayer Magic in my existence. The hour count must be huge. Yeah. It's just but it did not happen until 2010.
Played in high school, and then for a little bit, like post college, because my buddy has like one of the like buckets of like thousands and thousands of cards, and but I went to like an actual competition, and it was like the amount of money that people had like in their decks. I was just like, I just can't afford it.
No, and the format's like it's an industry unto itself at this point. Yeah. Hey, I see Danny from Saturday. Yeah, Richard like Bunny Kingdom is a Richard Garfield game. Robo Rally is a Richard Garfield game. Obviously, Magic the Gathering is one of his. I have some of his other games that are less popular. King of Tokyo is a Richard Garfield game.
Oh, really? This is Welcome to Rome this game?
I don't know. Is it? Maybe the chat knows if Welcome to Rome is one of his. Like
something about Welcome to Rome and something about, I don't remember. Dungeons, Dice, and Danger.
Oh yeah, Keyforge is definitely. Keyforge is like a Minnesota product too. So
I haven't played that.
Yeah, these are all shenanigans. Okay, so you got to experience some industry events. Like if you are serious about being a content creator here on TikTok and participating in the board game community, I highly recommend it. People are amazing. You guys are all great. Hey, how are you, Alec? That's Battle Bear. Because we need another ALE name in this particular conversation. Woo! All right, so the thing about participating is it's being a member of the community and helping out other people and having fun and sharing your voice. And it's weird to think that your voice is heard in a gathering of 80,000 people like Gen Con, but it really does. Like people come up to you and let you know like that, they follow you or that they're friends or that your game mattered to them and how. And that is a great feeling. Like I ran obviously lots of Conquest Princess. I ran 2 games of Processing and I ran 1 game of End of the Line. Okay, these are all our titles. I did not run any of our small box games. We did have a major medical emergency, and I'll talk about that in a second. But after running all those 3 different types of games, somebody invariably came back during the convention at one time or another and told me that their time at one of my events was their favorite game of the convention. And that is so humbling and affirming that you can really make a difference in this community.
Yeah. No, I love that, man. That's what it's all about. That one, you do these things in mass and you got to look at the numbers, make sure you're but then it just takes the one person to be intentional. Hey, like, really enjoyed that. Or, oh, that's my favorite. Or I like everything, all that kind of stuff. It's just like, all right, cool. Like, I can go like 365 more days of doing this. Like,
and like, how many people's days do you have to make to validate your own stuff? Like, you should be making your own. Like, you should feel good about your stuff. Yeah. Don't like let your dream kill you. But the things that people are doing here are creating honest to goodness connections with other folks. I can say honestly, I'm older than dirt. I have experienced more love now and are connected to more people than any time in my life. And it's crazy. And I would not have thought if you had said at the beginning of the dark times that this thing that we're doing here was going to add to my life, I would tell you to look back at my first video where I'm playing with a miniature of Kaiser Cucumber.
Now I gotta go scroll back and watch.
No, my gosh. Like, Kervin did me a disservice. He's like, hey, I went back and I watched all the videos I've ever made. I'm like, oh, yeah. I am not doing that to myself. There's no universe where I'm going to do that.
I'm going to do it to all my friends, though. I'm going to go scroll all the way back and see it to make myself feel better,
I mean, obviously, we've touched on this. your star power, like Mondo has legitimate star power, right? He's smart, he's charismatic, the camera loves him, he's got good cadence, so forth and whatnot. You would not think he's an elementary teacher and a recent father.
Yeah.
These are not things you're like, look at Mondo Davis, recent father.
Yeah.
And so like using what you've got going on as sort of like as part of your voice, I think is a way for people to get ahead. And more I suggest people getting comfortable here on these formats to practice what they're going to do when they're at a Gen Con or in front of a lot of people. Okay. One thing did happen to Fight in a Box. Our entire RPG track got canceled, and my creative director's wife ended up in the hospital Thursday morning of Gen Con, and she only got out of the hospital yesterday.
Oh, geez.
So that is the thing that happened. So if people have been interacting with our social media, I want to say that things are going in the right direction. We're sorry that we had to cancel the RPG track. It was very sad for us. It was the first year that we were putting it on seriously, but it was sort of unavoidable. Yeah.
Dang. Well, that's unfortunate. Was she in Indianapolis?
Columbus.
Oh, okay. So she wasn't there. Okay.
No, she went back. She was, yeah. So Mark had to end up going back home for.
Okay. Yeah. That's the worst thing ever, like getting sick, like away from home, and it just triples the stress level. And I got sick in Miami one time, and I was like, oh, Miami. And she's like, I'm sick. And it's just like, all right, random hospital. Like,
was that oh my gosh, was that when you were doing a music thing? Or work?
That was actually when I started. Well, I was doing both at the time, but I was there for work. I was supposed to do music stuff. That was the real bummer because I never performed in Miami. But yeah,
what's your flavor of music?
So I had 3 projects that I worked with a lot. So solo, and there's like alternative hip hop stuff I do, and then there's a jazz fusion band, college, and then there was a alternative hip hop like group we had that was like high school, but it was awesome. Like, so it's funny, like doing hip hop anything, you always go to a studio, right? And because I don't know how it happened, I guess because I was in school, but I started out performing. Like we'd make the music, then we'd go perform it, and that's just how we did stuff. But I'd go into studios like to record stuff, like the stuff we'd like you record, and there'd be people that had been doing it for 20 years, and they'd write their stuff, they go to the studio, they come back, and their whole dream was like, yeah, one day I'm going to perform like this music I've been making. I was like, what? I was like, that's the only reason I do this. I get up on stage and like have a good time. Like, they're just like, oh, yeah, one day I'll have a live show. I was like, all right, I don't know about that. Like, I don't like that. Like, so that's cool, man.
If you've got that in you, use it to make gaming better, Zazu. I would task you to do that.
I'm brewing some stuff.
Like I don't like being center of attention. It took me like 6 years of running my company and people saying, Seppi, you need to be like face man for Fight in a Box before it even happened. Yeah. And that's a long time.
I was thrown because I saw you from your content first, so I was thrown off when we got into when we did the play testing on Tabletop Simulator, and you're just like, all right, what's this? Does I do this? Like you were telling me how to run Tabletop Simulator because I was rusty. I was like, oh, he's like smart too. He's like, he like knows his stuff. I thought you were just a face. I thought you were the hype guy. I was like, no, he knows what's up. You've been modest. You knew like, oh no, press this button. Oh, you're probably like you knew what was going wrong on my end before I even told you. Like, oh, it's probably this dude. I'm like, oh, all right, well.
I have spent a lot of time trying to make games happen. It's very kind of you to say that kind of stuff. I appreciate it. But you've been an amazing guest. We're in the last 5 minutes, Zazu. Yeah. So it is time for the wrap up. And in the wrap up, I like people to talk about what they've got coming up next, where we're going to see them next, and what people can look forward to.
Okay. Coming up next. So we were gonna kick things off at Gen Con, but the international superstar was doing international superstar things. So
Yes.
we're nailing down a cadence for like just gaming in general, and then for designing. So we're gonna be doing some stuff together.
Oh, that's exciting.
Since we live so close, so we've known each other for so long. And then yesterday we had the 3x3. We had 9 people on just chatting. So that's gonna be a monthly thing now. We're gonna
Is it? What's the schedule for that thing?
I guess we're gonna keep it like Tuesdays at 8. Like that worked. So until it doesn't work, we'll leave it Tuesdays at 8.
Okay, send me if I'm not too much of a curmudgeon. Send me a reminder to at least tune in and say hello. I love that.
No, I need you on one of those little boxes.
The Brady Bunch. Oh my gosh! It's always Zazu.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. So that, and then so I'm in San Jose right now. I get another week and a half out here.
Whoa!
When I get back, because I've been gone. I was gone a week before Gen Con. Then Gen Con. Now I've been here for 3 weeks, or will be for 3 weeks. So once that settles, then I'm gonna get back to trying to design some stuff. It's just like
that's exciting.
Yeah, I thought in my head, I was like, I'll be sitting in a hotel room at night. I can like work on stuff, but it's not the same as being at home and like playing with little pieces to kind of figure out, tinker around. So I'm just going to rest.
Having had to live that life, I recommend, even if just 10 minutes with a notepad and design, you will be surprised how much that will keep you mentally limber for when you're going to jump back into it. Even if it's just 10 minutes, you're like, just like, I just got done with the gym, whatever it is, I'm going to sit down and put a timer on. I'm going to do 10 minutes of game design. Boom. And you'd be surprised how much that helps.
I'm going to do that.
Yeah, seriously. It is all about consistency and building the muscles in your brain that make this kind of stuff happen. Okay. Well, thanks everybody. This has been marvelous, Zazu. Thank you for putting up with my randomness. I should have lined up another guest already, but as you can hear, my voice is still hasn't fully recovered from Gen Con. Hopefully, I will get a good guest for next week. Maybe I'll make Danny come in, but I'll figure it out. And for us, you can look forward to a return to content here. Obviously, board game design tip on the other channels. If you want 15 seconds of things to think about in and around board game design, I recommend checking that out.
What channel is that?
The Oob Tubes.
The Oob Tubes. All right. I'll go find that.
That other tube-like channel where video content is insurance.
Over there.
Yeah. So that kind of stuff, we also will have, by the end of the month, the full story arc for Conquest Princess up on TTS. And if you are interested in going on the galactic adventure, which is Conquest Princess, and would like to experience everything from the Captain Ashi Maroon to facing off against the fashion tyrant Mugaga, let me know either here or I'll go to Jasper's TikTok, Discord, whatever, and we can plan something. But all right, everybody, thank you so much for making time for the live. This was wonderful. Gen Con was surreal. I do not think Gen Con will be as packed next year. It is my delusion that it will dip a little bit because everything is sort of an undulating sort of set of shenanigans. But this year's set of events were filled with surprises of all types. And the publishers that I know who went to the thing were very excited about it. And all the content creators like you, Zazu, and everybody else, it really seemed to have a genuinely great time. So hopefully I'll get to see everybody coming up soon, either at GameOl or PAX Unplugged. Any final words, Zazu?
Thanks for having me, and thanks for just, being you, man.
Oh, that's so sweet. Please keep me posted about your own exploits and those that you're sharing with Mondo Davis, International Superstar.
Will do.
All right, everybody. Be safe. Have fun.